In the heart of the Bible, the land of Israel is described as a place of extraordinary fertility, defined by the 7 species, or Shivat Haminim. First among these sacred staples is wheat, the foundational bread of life that has shaped human history for millennia. Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 8 paints the ultimate picture of this abundance, a land of wheat and barley, of vines, figs, and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and date honey. Wheat's connection to this land is incredibly ancient. The oldest traces of wild wheat grains were discovered at the Ohalo II site on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. This Neolithic Revolution allowed nomadic tribes to finally settle, building permanent communities rooted in the soil. In the biblical record, wheat represents more than just food. It symbolizes abundance and divine kindness. Psalm chapter 147, verse 14 declares of God, "He grants peace to your borders and satisfies you with the finest of wheat." Not all ancient wheat was the same. In biblical times, consumers relied on 3 main varieties: Emmer wheat, Triticum dicocum. One of the first domesticated species, it produced a coarse flour and was the primary wheat of early periods. Durum wheat, Triticum durum, a hard grain that gradually replaced emmer during the Iron Age, becoming the preferred choice for fine flour used in baking and temple offerings. Bread wheat, Triticum aestivum. This is the most common variety used today. It contains more starch and gluten, resulting in the lightly textured loaves we recognize. It became the dominant grain in Israel after the Greek conquest. While wheat and barley were the big 2 grains, they held different social statuses. Barley was hardy and grew in poor soil, making it the staple of the poor and livestock. Wheat, however, was resource-intensive and seen as a luxury. Ordinary Israelites provided 50 to 70% of their daily calories through grain products, mostly in the form of bread, or lehem. The elite, however, enjoyed a higher hierarchy of food. The court of King Solomon, for instance, consumed a massive daily provision of 30 kor of fine flour and 60 kor of ordinary flour to support his resplendent court. A kor in biblical times was a large Hebrew unit of capacity for both dry goods, like wheat, and liquids, like oil, equivalent to 1 homer. A kor is estimated to be approximately 220 to 230 liters, roughly 58 to 60 U.S. gallons, or 6.25 bushels, or household containers. Thus, Solomon's daily provisions consisted of roughly 6,600 liters, roughly 1,740 U.S. gallons, of fine flour, and 13,200 liters, or 3,480 U.S. gallons of flour. For an ancient family, wheat was a full-time job. Women spent an estimated 3 hours every single morning kneeling at grinding stones to produce enough flour for a family of 5. This flour was used for leavened bread, Hametz, made using a sourdough starter or seor reserved from previous batches. Unleavened bread, Matzah, prepared in haste, symbolizing freedom from slavery, as recorded in Exodus chapter 12, verses 33 to 34. Temple offerings, mincha. Fine flour mixed with oil and salt was a requirement for sacrificial ritual. Roasted grain, calorie. Kernels roasted over fire provided a portable, long-lasting snack for travelers and soldiers, like the provisions Abigail brought to David's men in 1 Samuel chapter 25, verse 18. The biblical diet was remarkably functional. Whole wheat grain is a powerhouse of starch, protein, B vitamins, and dietary fiber. It provided essential minerals like iron, calcium, magnesium, zinc, and selenium. Beyond physical fuel, wheat had spiritual and medicinal benefits. It was often cooked with honey or pomegranate seeds for sweetness. However, the ancient methods had drawbacks. The stone millstones often left grit and basalt flakes in the flour, which led to severe dental wear across the ancient population. How does the wheat of the Bible compare to what's in your pantry today? Ancient Israelites used manual handstones or donkey-driven mills that kept the whole grain intact. Modern roller mills separate the bran and germ, often requiring enrichment to put nutrients back in. Ancient farmers might harvest 70 to 150 kilograms per dunam. A dunam is a unit of land area, but it is not a biblical unit of measurement. It is an Ottoman Turkish term. Today, a metric dunam is officially 1,000 square meters or a quarter of an acre or 0.1 hectares. Modern irrigation and fertilization have pushed those yields to 400 kilograms or more. Ancient Emmer and Durum produced denser, flatter breads. Modern bread wheat cultivars are bred for high gluten to create the fluffy, airy loaves we see in supermarkets today. Today, many are returning to ancient biblical varieties like Emmer and einkorn, valuing them for their unique nutritional profiles and lower interference from modern industrial processing. Wheat is the thread that ties the ancient world to the modern table. From the showbread in the temple to the Passover matzah and the modern Sabbath Challah, it remains a symbol of national identity and spiritual rootedness. As Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 3 reminds us, "Man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord." The next time you break bread, remember you are partaking in a legacy that spans over thousands of years of history. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more biblical archaeology.